Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, so you know what that means. We are very excited to have an Alpha Nooner, Dan Ahrens, back on. Of course, we're going to be talking about cannabis. We normally hit on a few other themes as well. Definitely want to talk a little bit about, uncharacteristically, I guess, want to talk a little bit about sports as well. I know everyone's very excited about the Super Bowl and all the implications, but that affects some of our themes. So excited to talk about that in a little bit. Good reminder, if anyone has questions, you can always ask. If you have comments, if you just want to throw something in, you're very welcome to. Hey, Swan Song. Glad to see you on.
Hello.
Let's talk, I guess, to start, because I feel like we normally do. Let's talk about the outfit, because you're always on brand with the outfit. You've always got something going on. Nice. Hat, same
Big,
thing. Are you
oh
all
yeah, I'm
picked
I'm
out?
matchy today. That's rare for me, wearing
I
the shirt and the hat at the
double.
same time. But thank you, Grown Rogue. We like your company and we like your stuff. But yeah, it's a small part of the fund.
Mhm.
It's hard to make up a big part of the fund, but we are fans of the Grown Rogue. So
That's good
good
stuff.
job. Keep doing what you do.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have them on in, I think, mid-February a little bit. So we'll have them
Good.
on relatively soon. So it'll be good to chat with them. If you guys have questions for them directly, feel free to let them roll.
Oh wait,
Um,
here's a little
yes,
public service announcement.
sure.
Um, Boris or Camila, if you're listening, send me more stuff because Boris said that his daughter was going to be designing some awesome swag, and
Oh, that's cute.
I heard it's in development. So that's all I know.
They've been busy with some other things going on. I know they're
Yeah,
opening
they
stores in
have.
New York. They're doing all sorts of stuff. So maybe, they'll
Yes,
get
that's
working.
that's low down the priority list. Very
Yes.
low.
Business
Also,
swag.
Curaleaf, we appreciate the hell out of you. Keep doing what you're
Yes.
doing.
That is true. Love it. All right. Well, then glad that we got that covered because again, you always dress well, which is awesome. Hey, Brian,
Try.
how's it going? Yeah, some good names, some good movement in cannabis today. It looks like, again, never take a good day for granted, but happy to see a green day. It's always nicer, I think, to be on during a green day. Although, again, a reminder, things can go up, things can go down. That's how they go, especially with cannabis. With those kind of smaller stocks, they operate as normal, very, very small caps would with that volatility. So keep that in mind. But let's talk about maybe some of the good stuff that we've seen so far. I feel like a good amount of inflows, good amount of interest, good amount of activity. I'm still seeing all the social media coverage, which I know
Yep.
isn't everything, but still seeing a lot of positive movements, some good articles. What's anything that's gotten you excited since we've talked last week? I know there's been
Well, stocks going up has got me excited, so that's
sure.
good. But no, let's talk a little bit more about that. And I'll give a cross plug here. I was on the Dales report yesterday, and we talked sort of about the same thing. But inflows to the fund do not make stocks go up. And the example I used yesterday is look at the entire year of 2022. Are you kidding me? We were getting inflows the whole year, and everything was going down. And not much different for the last 3 years until again recently. So that's one narrative that people need to drop. Now, on the other hand, we have seen statistics, and like Sammy, people like that talk about it online. The fund does a hell of a lot to support a lot of stocks prices. They get a lot of the volume, but so there's a lot to be said there. But no, inflows to the fund do not make stocks go up. The fund is a vessel. The fund's performance is a reflection of the performance of the stocks that it owns. Nothing more, nothing less. And I think we've done a pretty good job with that. We always look at the few marijuana indexes that are out there in North America. I mean, no one even likes the word marijuana anymore, but that's the name of the index. And the competitors' funds that are a lot smaller than our fund, but knock on wood, we can't outperform for all time periods ever, and it's due to change. But lately, we're outperforming on virtually all time frames, so
Yeah.
that's good. But where was I going with that? Was that everything?
Things are good. You're excited. That's good. I mean, prices going up is
Oh,
definitely something to be excited about.
yeah. Except part of it is it's just momentum because we don't have real news, do we? No.
Not yet.
We have some good things, it sounds like, coming out of Florida. It sounds like we're finally going to get the adult use on the ballot, but
Mhm.
hey, it ain't there yet. So, don't count that.
Yes.
Looks like Virginia, that approved it by ballot a long time ago and then got caught up in a bunch of administrative bullshit. Looks like Virginia is finally coming around,
Yep.
which is very good for a few of the operators that we know with big ties to Virginia. Shout out to Juicy. We like that.
There you go.
So there's some good things happening. Continued pressure from senators on the HHS/DEA to act finally. Joe Biden's out there talking about all the people that he has expunged and let out of jail, which is zero, actually. Everybody knows that. But I digress. But so those are all positive things.
Yeah.
But I think it's really nice to see this momentum for the sake of momentum on the lack of real news. And it's sort of an example of what this stuff can do once we do get, air quote, real news about rescheduling or other federal reform.
That's true. I agree. Do you think that there's
I'm
also
happy.
I also agree. Is there a psychological shift? I know there was a big deal when we got to 9 and crossing 9. I know we're flirting with 9.5 roughly right now. Is there anything when we get back into double digits that changes, again, with news or without news, in terms of like a sentiment perspective, how people are viewing it?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said. Again, it's just momentum.
Sure.
I'm not a technical guy, and
Sure.
I think especially with cannabis, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors and doesn't really mean much.
Sure.
But again, OTC traded stocks, the volume's not huge compared to real stocks listed on the NYSE and Nvidia and things like that.
Sure.
So they are very susceptible to a little bit of upward pressure, downward pressure. And there's a lot of people out there that see, hey, cannabis stocks are moving up. We like it.
Yeah.
But if they're showing that chart, it's going upwards. And so, yeah, all those price points that you just mentioned, Mackenzie, and that taking out different levels, there's a lot of people that pay attention to that, and it causes snowball effect momentum.
Yeah.
So we will take it, and it makes us happy.
That is true. I agree. All right. I see some questions coming in about specific stocks, which we will get to. I did, before we go kind of in that direction, I know we also want to talk about air a little bit, wanted to cover Texas a little bit. I saw the Texas Cannabis Collective. They did a Spaces yesterday, which was super good, but they've also been circulating I think it's Dallas Freedom something. It's for decriminalization in Dallas.
Yeah, it's all over the local news stuff too here in Dallas. So it's,
have you signed it
good
yet?
stuff.
Are you going to sign it? You've got to sign it. You're in Dallas.
Of course.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to send this out. I think I'm going to get the link and send it to everyone else in this chat. I know, Stevie, thanks so much. You've already signed it. I know you're in Texas. But if anyone's in Texas, or if you know anyone in Texas or Dallas, I guess really Texas is huge. Getting them to sign it, I think is good. Get that positive change as well going. Texas definitely needs it. So I'll send that out now. I'm seeing that through. All right, then let's hit on some of the specific names. I see a question from Brian talking about Trulieve. Anything that you would see in that company to kind of push it up in the holdings further. I know it's weighted highly, but
yeah, I've seen a little bit of chatter on the internet, and a year ago, a lot of people weren't loving Trulieve, and now everybody's loving Trulieve, and it's getting some really nice momentum on its own, especially with what we're anticipating in Florida, which is great. But Trulieve is about 16% of the fund. That is a huge number.
Yep.
And people need to realize just how super heavy weighted the fund is in its top holdings. And I know there's a lot of cannabis investors listening to us right now, but they might not be that experienced in typical mutual fund and ETF world, like we at Advisor Shares live in. Look at some other funds. You're not going to see other funds of any type that are as super heavy weighted. So we own a ton of Trulieve. That means we love Trulieve.
Fair enough.
And a 16% weight is really, really freaking huge. Do not think it's any kind of competition with Oh, why do they own more of Verano right now? Well, I've said it before. We can't manage this fund super tactically. It would
Mhm.
be insane to oh, we want to buy more True Leaf? Why are they selling Verano? Oh my God.
Sure.
People would go bonkers. And because these stocks, well, I don't really care about public perception as much as I care about putting undue pressure on any of these companies' bids. Um, I don't want to do that. They're legally liquid, but they're not all that liquid. And I don't want to put selling pressure on holdings that we like. If we really need to sell something, we'll sell it. But
Yeah.
that is not the intention usually here.
Yeah, that's fair. I
So we
think
own we own, and we've been buying Truly every single week, every week. It's been a long time since we haven't bought it in a week.
yeah, yeah. I think I love though, I think I see a lot of talk around what's in the holdings in general and like how they're weighted, all that stuff. To me, I think
Yeah,
it's just great that people are very, very engaged and really have, companies
yeah,
and teams that they're rooting for and really, really like. So I think that's great in general, as well.
absolutely. Yep.
Okay, cool. Oh, wait. So he was asking technically as well. Sorry, not to belabor the point, but he was asking to get it into the top three. Again, I think your answer kind of covered that in my view. So
Yeah. Right now, Green Thumb is number one, Curaleaf's number two, Verana's number three, and Truly's number four. They've been that way for a long time.
got it.
Um, but hell, am I sliding Jason Wild in that? Why don't we own more of
Sure.
Terracin? Why don't we own more of this, more of that?
Sure.
Um,
Fair enough. All right, everyone.
yeah.
That answers it well perfectly. All right. Well, then mentioned air. I feel like I've also been seeing a lot of questions for air. I know again,
Yeah.
people are hopefully seeing the answer somewhere. I think you answered it a little bit on the Dales, but always good to kind of cover it, make sure
Yeah.
everyone is hearing it. So, what can you tell us about owning air, the air warrants that are coming up? What's the deal there?
Yeah, we love air. We've always loved air, and it was not loved publicly a year or two ago, and we kept buying it because I always thought once things turn around, air is one of those companies that might have more juice to the upside as a company that had been the stock had been beat up more than some others in the last 3 years. So that's all. So an important thing to look at when we're talking about any of these stocks is their shares outstanding and the percent of the company.
Mhm.
So Air doesn't have nearly as many shares outstanding as something like Curaleaf or Green Thumb. It's a lot tighter, and so it's hard for us to own more than we do.
Sure.
But a quick reminder: the fund doesn't actually own any shares of Air.
Outright.
The right now the publicly listed um, counterparties are Clear Street and Nomura.
Mhm.
So they own certain percentages of air. But still, those companies get limited in just how much of a company they can own.
Mhm.
And no, there's not an exact number, everybody. It's always what they can own legally, what they
Mhm.
have to file publicly, what
Mhm.
their risk departments are comfortable with those companies owning.
I
So
was
there's
going to say,
always lots of moving targets here.
is there any more risk applied to the fact that they're cannabis companies? Are they allowed a smaller percentage? Is there any difference there? I guess, or do they, are they transparent with that? Which they might not be.
Not
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 really.
exactly, but yeah, the counterparties always have risk departments and lots of lawyers and looking at how much of a company they own and how much they're giving us in swap, etc.
Okay.
But we can't ever get into where we control a company. Can't do that. Um, but so the warrants. There's been lots of chatter about the warrants.
Mhm.
So there's not a date set on it yet. They suspect it's coming out in the first quarter,
Mhm.
and people will get exact information at that time. The warrants are going to be, um, listed. They're going to have their own QSIP, so they're going to be tradable. So they are going to be listed and tradable warrants. So um, non-accredited investors in the United States, if they get issued warrants, and everybody's going to get issued warrants, they can sell them, they can trade them.
Mhm.
But if they're not an accredited investor, like our fund, and like Nomura and like Clear Street, they can't exercise them. They need to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody gets value though. So those
Mm-hmm.
retail investors in the US can sell them. I think Canadian investors can exercise them. And of course, the fund, through its counterparties, can exercise those warrants. So they are real value. And an important thing about this whole exercise is the outstanding shares of Air are going to go up. And the way they're doing this, is it dilution? Yeah, technically it's dilution, but it's not the bad dilution that we've seen over and over again with some other companies, especially in Canada.
Yeah.
Sorry, Canada.
Poor Canadians. Jane is directed at you. Don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aurora Cannabis, I'm looking at you.
Sure.
So the outstanding shares of Air should increase, which means we could own more shares of Air, which is a good thing.
There you go. Perfectly explained. Easy peasy. Love it. All right. Well, then I guess what else on the
cannabis? Anybody that didn't know that, all you gotta do is talk to Air like I do.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Yes.
They've been talking to a lot of people with the questions about warrants. But
yeah. Trying to make it clear. I feel like a lot of the companies are just trying to communicate what they're doing well. So hopefully they're doing that, which is great. But again, happy to kind of help add some extra color, which I think is great. So yes, I'm seeing the chatter in here. Definitely agree. Jane, I'm also sorry that you go through. I feel like people complaining about all the work you do for free for them just because you like it. So again, credit for pulling through, but I'm sorry that you have to deal with people being unhappy sometimes because I would imagine that's incredibly frustrating, and I'm sorry for that.
Yes, all right, Jane. Know that you are loved.
Yes, and appreciated, I think is the key thing. Yes. But all right, well then we'll talk more cannabis as we go through. Guys, if you have any cannabis questions, of course, you can always just pop them in. I did want to just hit on Super Bowl stuff just because it's timely and it's coming up. And I know sports betting and Vegas and all of that kind of tie into some of the different themes that you manage. Cannabis, not, least of one of them, because Vegas and cannabis definitely go hand in hand sometimes. But would love to hear, I don't know, what themes you think the Super Bowl is affecting. I feel like Vice would come to mind normally. Maybe hotels if people are staying there. Maybe restaurants.
Yeah. Well, of course, they have the hotels ETF and restaurant ETF both have a lot of exposure to Vegas, but sure. And Vice has a little bit of all of that. It has some of the gaming REITs that own a lot of the real estate in Vegas, and it certainly has some MGM Mirage and some Caesars in there. So
does that encompass or not?
What?
MGM that incorporates the sports betting, right, component?
Yeah.
MGM,
yeah. Okay. So casino operator. They don't own the bricks and mortars much because they sell them all to the gaming REITs. But MGM's. I got it on my phone. What the hell is that called?
MGM gambling. Yeah. It's not called that, but yeah.
No, I got their app for betting. So it's huge for Vegas. But come on, Vegas has the biggest. I think they have the biggest convention halls in the nation. If not, they're really close to it. They're always having shows out in Vegas, conventions and so on. But Super Bowl's big. It's really big. But 500 million of revenue or something like that projected.
That's crazy.
They just had F1 recently. I'm sure the Sphere will be sold out every single night, and lots of good things. But hey, what about Planet 13? And also our friends at Jushi have New Leaf out there. There's going to be a lot of weed sold and consumed. So, cheers to the winners celebrating out there. So we'll see. No, it's a big weekend.
That's good. Are you putting any sports bets down? I know Noah's a big sports bettor. I think you do sometimes, but I think not as much if you're busy. Everyone's busy, but
I used to do a lot of that in my younger days, but nah. I'll fool with it when I'm in town, but I don't do it from my desk here in Dallas.
I would also guess so.
I gamble on call options. That's what I gamble on.
There you go. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Are there going to be any bets? I guess is it possible to know? I know Taylor Swift has been not to make this into a Swiftie episode. I know we talk a lot with Eddie Elfenbein when he's on about Taylor Swift by mistake, so maybe it's the wrong person to talk to. But do you think we see a lot of betting around, like, sort of weird side bets through the apps around
Prop
I've heard,
bets. Yes.
like
I
yeah.
remember one of the last Super Bowls here in Dallas, I took the over on how many times they would show Jerry Jones, and I lost because
Oh,
when it's a Cowboys game, they showed Jerry Jones constantly. But just because he was there and it was, taking place in Jerry World, I took the overs, and I think it's like 3.5 or 4, and they showed the guy like once or twice.
bummer.
So yeah, there's absolutely going to be prop bets about Taylor Swift, although she's doing a concert in Tokyo and then supposed to be flying back. Maybe
Well,
maybe Eddie Elfenbein has all the details on that more than me.
we are having him on in February, but I think it's after the Super Bowl, which is very unfortunate. But hopefully he'll be tweeting
Aw.
about it in the meantime. Who knows? But yeah, I'm super excited. I imagine, I know they said projecting kind of before the Taylor Swift stuff really took hold, a bigger and bigger and more expensive Super Bowl than previous. Oh yeah, interesting. Great question, Tracy.
And why the hell is Usher the halftime performance?
I
I mean,
don't
a lot of
know.
people didn't even know if that guy was alive still or not.
Oh, that's horrible. Who would you want to have? Who would you want to have in the mix? Taylor Swift? She'd be an obvious tie-in, but again, she's just doing a concert, so probably not.
Yeah,
Who'd you
I
have?
don't know. Nope. I can't express my appearance.
Britney Spears? Somebody who I guess I don't know.
Eesh.
I know what you're listening to,
Hell,
Dan.
you
I know what
two's
you're
out in
listening to.
Vegas anyway. Couldn't they just have them
But
pop over and do a halftime show? But
they're busy in the sphere. That's true. But yeah, that's good stuff. Interesting
who are
question.
existing bands that are still operating that aren't Green Day would be awesome, but
It would be interesting.
they've gotten very political lately.
Everyone has.
That's fine. I love
Yep.
me some Green Day. So
Thoughts from
no
Tracy?
opinions. I just found Usher odd.
Okay, that's good. I agree. We'll have to see what kind of show he puts on. Question from
I'll be
Tracy.
very good.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I feel like there have been disappointing ones, but who knows? We'll see. Also very excited for the commercials as well. Thoughts from Tracy on the Flutter, because I know they just got listed, yesterday they were all the news. They brought some football player who I don't know, unfortunately, out to I don't know who it was, whatever. Everyone was very hyped about it. And I was excited about that. Good for them. But
Nah, it's not my thing. That'd be more of a Noah thing. Unless it's
nice.
what is Flutter a public stock?
Yeah, it now is. So they just yeah. But I guess it's now in the universe, I guess, if you're looking at it. Who knows?
I will make sure it's on the watch list, but I typically stay away from IPOs and give it a little bit of time to settle in before I decide if I like it or not.
That's smart. Makes sense. All right. And then final, sports related thing. I've seen it online everywhere. I think it's a great tie-in marketing thing with the wing sauce. What do you call it? Wing sauce that has cannabis infusion in it. Cresco Labs working on it. Collaboration. I think kind of fun. I think kind of good. What's your thought? / would you try it? It's just you can't try it. You'd have to go all the way to Illinois. Sucks, but
Yeah. I need to try that. I love me some wings. Hell, we need to get Emily and Morgan's opinion on that because
yeah,
they're from Buffalo, where
that's true.
I don't.
Buffalo
So
wing sauce.
yeah, I've seen about the wing sauce. I don't know if it is true buffalo flavor,
Really?
hot, or because you go to like Buffalo Wild Wings and stuff like that. They got 32 flavors. I don't know what they have. That's a
A
little
ton.
joke, but yeah.
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah. So I'm more of the traditional buffalo hot. I think is the best way to do wings. But
Mhm.
with THCs, that's only like Merry
An extra
Christmas.
bonus.
Yeah, it's bonus time for that.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I think we've seen a lot of the sort of not stunty food, but like interesting, kind of fun, crazy cannabis stuff. But I feel like this one's a good one just because the Super Bowl is getting so much attention, so much coverage that it's gonna get picked up. It's got to get picked up, I would imagine, and maybe reach some people who I don't know are less interested in cannabis and kind of get it on their radar again. Because I know only a certain amount of people are going to actually get it because it's very limited. Because again, we don't have that interstate yet lined up. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. And yeah, we got to get someone to try it who's in Illinois.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'll be good. All right. Looks like we got U2 and Green Day. We got a third Green Day should be the performer. We figured it out. Beautiful. All right. Well, then that's all I wanted to cover on the sports side of things. Other than that, I was just sort of looking through just some year-to-date performance for stuff. We don't have to actually, I'm not going to go through all of it specifically, but we'll say was surprised. PCIL is having a pretty strong start to the year, which is good to see. I know, again, volatility is in the mix. Of course, cannabis is not trouncing everything, but doing incredibly well year to date, not resting on the laurels of a few days, ultimately, about a month. But still great to see kind of in general. So that was the only other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on quickly. Oh, Eagles would be good. Definitely pro Eagles.
Oh, and the Eagles
not
are
for the
touring
birds.
recently. My son went and saw them in
Oh,
Denver a couple months ago. Now, love me some Eagles. They
good time.
Glenn Fry, rest in peace. But the Eagles are still doing it well.
There you go. Agree 1,000%. All right. Well, any final things? I think that's a good amount of coverage and stuff. I think answer some questions, which is great. But anything else to leave people with before we wrap up? Nothing?
No.
Enjoy the rest of your day. That'll be my final thing to say. All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Really appreciate it. And we will catch you tomorrow. Very exciting with Don Murphy. So thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
See you then.
Before investing, carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses found in the prospectus, available at advisorshares.com.